Hey guys, welcome to lesson number 3, course integrity. So right now I want to get into clear conscience, having a clear mind about you. And I talk about clear conscience because this is so important. If you want to be a leader, you're going to need to be aware. Okay, you got to have awareness of your situation, of how you're feeling, how you're reacting to emotions, how you're contemplating situations. Contemplation, understanding. You want to be able to have an understanding towards others and circumstances. So this is why I talk about clear conscience, because your consciousness is your awareness. And if you have a clear sense of awareness, you'll have a clear source of leadership, and people can follow your decision making. They can follow your deliberateness, your intentionality, okay, because you have clarity. If you don't have the clarity of conscience, that you're going a different direction, and people aren't going to follow a leader who they can't trust. When I was in the Army National Guard, I still am currently, but when I was doing a training scenario, I was out at Fort Dix in New Jersey, and one of the training exercises we were doing is we would do a line formation. So we were in the line formation. I was the third man, so I had my weapon up this way, looking diagonal. Now there's the front man, the point man, and he was the sergeant. Now he's the sergeant, so we looked to the sergeant for the direction, for the order. And he didn't know what to do. So I'm kind of sitting there, and we're in this weird situation. So there's fire coming from us. You know, this is all training, but there's an enemy in front of us, and they're shooting at us. And we have to figure out what to do. So the point man is looking confused. He's moving. He doesn't know what to do. Should I go here? Should I go there? And I'm like, just do something. Make a decision. See, in his inability to decide, we were jeopardized. Our lives were at stake. So when you have clear conscience, clear awareness, you'll be able to decide effectively and actively. The problem isn't that you make a bad decision. The problem is that you don't make a decision. And I get caught up in this too, every day. Should I do this? Should I do that? And I'm up in the air. It's better to make a decision than no decision. But you gotta act first, then deal with the recompense later. Like I said, one of the hardest things was to decide. For anyone, for the leader in that situation, maybe you're in a situation with your business, your relationship, even personal, and you just don't know how to decide. Am I going to be able to do this better? Am I going to be able to make this decision when it comes to the bills or moving or getting a new job? Clear conscience is going to help you decide. It's going to help you see opportunities, liabilities. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Recently somebody texted me. I didn't know who the number was from. Literally a couple minutes ago, a guy texted me saying, you should come to my party, my birthday party or something. He says, is it Hartford or whatever, come through. Now, I don't know this phone number, never heard of the phone number, I don't know who it is. Just somebody, I guess, knows me. Now, in this decision, I had to decide, should I go to this thing, should I not? I know I have to do a lot of stuff, make some content, get up tomorrow, do some more content creation, exercise, etc. My answer is probably going to be a quick no. But I didn't respond because if I was going to respond, it's going to lead to more conversation, etc. So I made a quick decision to focus on what I need to do. Now I could have contemplated for a good 30 minutes, but I said I'm just going to do this. I'm going to continue making videos and figure the rest out as I go. But the thing is, currently it's about 11 o'clock at night, and the thing is, if I don't finish what I'm starting, then there's going to be an issue. So in crazy circumstance, maybe for you it's more crazier than that, but you know, in stressful situations, you're going to have to make quick decisions. Say, for instance, you got in an accident, but at the same time, your wife's pregnant. What are you going to do? Leave the car, save the baby? What are you going to do? But in these situations, you got to act. You got to make a decision. When you have a clear conscience, you're aware. You're aware of the choices. You're aware of the ability to decide. You're actually able to understand which is more effective, which is more important, where I want to go, when I want to go there. And then you can contemplate. You can contemplate your decisions afterwards. I was talking to an author, and he was telling me the best way he can understand situations as if he contemplates them later. And I do the exact same thing. I'll go into a situation, be 100% present, but I'll also contemplate what I did, what I didn't do, what the other person said, what the other person didn't say, etc. I'm very good at contemplating so I can make better decisions going forward. I want to help you guys out with these techniques, these tools, give you some insight on awareness, understanding, and contemplation. And then I want to conclude you with the lesson of integrity. Course integrity, you guys did amazing so far. So stay tuned for this one. It's going to be the gems of the juice. And I'm going to bless you as much as I can. Alright guys, so right now I want to talk about the ability to understand in reason situations, circumstances, and flux. Things that we cannot control. But in the ability of having a clear conscience, when you're aware, when you're awake, when you can see the options, the abilities to decide what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, able to make a quick decision when you need to, you also have this ability to understand and reason. You can reason your actions before you do it, and you can also reason the actions after you did it. Now, I want you to take out a piece of paper because this is going to be very important. I need you to write down before, during, and after. So first, write down before, during, after. Now, I want to see how you guys react to this situation. I'm going to give you a fantasy situation, something that could happen, might not happen, hopefully does not happen, but I want you to write down how you're going to react to it before it happens, how you're going to react to it when it happens, and how you're going to react to it while it happens or after it happens. So first off, I'm going to tell you the situation. The scenario is, say you're driving and you get into an accident, right? A car comes over and hits you on the back. Your car spins a little bit, you're still okay, airbag doesn't go off, you're shocked, a little traumatized, okay? The guy, however, drives off. So instead of doing the whole paperwork, getting the police involved, the guy just drives away as if he didn't do anything. So in this situation, how are you going to handle it? Now, I want you to write down before it happens. Before it happens, are you on your phone? Are you driving to work? Are you listening to music in the car? What are you doing beforehand? Are you relaxed? How is your emotional state? Is it relaxing? Is it stress? How is it? For me, it would be relaxed. I'd be in the car just cruising, chilling. To be honest, I may not even have my seatbelt on. I'm going to be realistic. But what are you doing beforehand? How are you feeling? What are you thinking? Are you thinking about what you're going to do for the day or whatever? Let's make this as realistic as possible. So the situation happens. You get hit behind. You swerve a little bit. Now this is currently. How are you going to react to it while it's happening? Obviously, you're going to be stressed. Obviously, you're not going to really know what's going on. You're going to be shocked, surprised, right? So I need you to write those things down in the current state. You're going to be surprised, shocked, unaware, explosive, maybe angry, maybe traumatized, who knows? After this happens, what are you going to do? Maybe you call the police, maybe you chase the guy down, maybe you get in your car and you chase him like Speed Racer, or maybe you call the ambulance. Maybe you call your family, let them know you're okay, what just happened. You call your mom, your girlfriend, your wife, your kids, something. Who do you call? What do you do? And I remember a situation vividly when I was in the car with my friend. This isn't a bad situation, but my buddy was throwing all the garbage out of the car. So he was throwing it right in the middle of the street. There was a lot of garbage in the car. He was throwing tons of garbage in the middle of the street. And this guy saw us do this. So the guy behind us honked his horn, and he was like, hey, and he cursed at us. I don't know, I was in this car. Anyways, we speed away, and this guy is chasing us down the street. In his car, he's chasing us down the road like a video game. And we tried to lose him. We had to lose him because he was right on our tail. So sometimes that is a reaction as well. But I want to ask you, what would you do in that situation? How would you react to getting hit and then twirling out? Would you chase the car down? Would you call ambulance? But I really want to focus on how you're feeling, how you're reacting to this, what your emotional stance is. Okay, so you have the beforehand, you have the current, now you have the after. Beforehand, you're relaxed, you're calm, you're at ease. During, you're shocked, surprised, uneased, maybe even angry, traumatized. Afterwards, you're either angry, You're either blessed that you're okay. You're either thankful that you're alive. You're either mad that the guy got away. You're either blowing up because you got a dent in the car. What are you feeling? What are you acting like? And then I want you to look at these options. So look, there's three things. You're either angry, you're mad, you're angry because the car was hurt, the car was dented. You're blessed, you're happy that you're alive. You're happy that you're still here, your family's okay, etc. So there's two choices you could react to the situation. You could be angry or you could be grateful. And in this ability to choose comes your conscious, comes your awareness. You're aware of the fact that you have the ability to choose. Now, most of us are going to react to it nonchalantly. We're just going to react off immediate emotions, whether that lead us to be grateful or whether that lead us to be angry. Either way, we're just going to act instantaneously. A lot of us forget that we can choose in these moments. Now, I want you guys to be aware to the point where you literally decide what it is you want to feel, what it is you want to experience. Do I want to experience the anger, or do I want to experience the joy and the gratitude of being alive? You have this choice in every situation. Whether it be a situation like that or another situation, you will always have the choice to decide. And this is the power of free will that every man has. You need to be aware of this strength in you because it's a very real one. But over time we forget and we kind of just react to every single thing that comes our way. You always have this ability to choose. This is where your strength is. There's a story of a man that was locked away in a Jewish camp where they put prisoners and they didn't feed them, etc. This was during World War II, and this was one of the concentration camps. Now this gentleman, he knew that he still had power. Everything was stripped, his money, his clothes, his gold, his family. And even in this state, he realized that he had one power left. And it was his ability to decide how he was going to react to the situation. Now, what he did was different than everyone else. He still carried himself in a way of respect. He still carried himself as if he was a man worthy of the dignity as any other man would. He did things differently. Instead of running after the food that they gave them, the little bit of food they gave him, he would actually save some of the food and discipline himself to eat when he chose to eat. Instead of running after the food like everyone else, just eating when they decide, he would grab some food, save it, eat when he wanted to eat, and discipline himself. Discipline how he reacted. Discipline how he saw the scenarios that he was in. Because he knew he still had the ability to decide, the ability to choose how he was going to feel and how he was going to react. You always have this. And this is actually the determining factor of your success or your failure. Successful people have found a way to decide to be grateful for even setbacks. Successful people usually like to fail forward. They like failure if they can learn from it. And the way you learn from failure is by failing forward, by taking chances and failing, by taking leaps of faith and failing. But as long as you stay in the comfort zone and don't leap on faith, don't take chances, you will actually not progress. And I know in the school system that you go to, high school, middle school, elementary school, it's always a bad thing if you fail. He got an F on the report card, he failed the class, etc. But when you get out of the school system, you actually want to fail. You want to make mistakes. You want to fail forward. You want to take chances. You want to mess up. This is how you grow. Everyone successful knows that this is where growth begins. It begins with failure. You never understand, but everyone you know, like names like Ford, Albert Einstein, etc., Benjamin Franklin, these names that you know, these gentlemen only succeeded one time. And that one time that they succeeded, you know about. But what you don't know about is the fact that they failed 2,000 times, 3,000 times. The Wright brothers, 4,000 times failing. They got so used to it that it was just normal. They fail forward. They still take chances, but they've learned every step of the way. The best way to learn is through failure, through messing up. But the way society has raised you through the school system is you start to think that if you fail, it's actually setting you back. It's a bad thing. So you become fearful. You're fearful to take a chance, fearful to learn from your mistakes because you feel like you can't afford to make a mistake. Once you get out of the school system, you'll realize that the only way to grow in an ever-changing society is to take leaps and fail daily. But the problem is when you're not learning from the mistake. The problem is if you're not learning from the failure. You want to fail and learn from it so that you can succeed afterwards. If you fail and do the same thing over and over again, something's wrong. You want to learn from the failure so that you can progress going forward. And you can do this, but you need to take the chance to do it. Again, this plays a lot in understanding the fact that you might actually mess up. And through the mess up, you'll succeed somewhere else along the line. Contemplation. Contemplating your failure, contemplating your mess up, whatever. I have gotten to the point where I don't even know what failure means. I just use the word because you probably understand it, but for me, it's all growth. I only consider it to be growth. I don't consider anything a failure. I only look at things as a growing opportunity. I've never seen anything as a failure. I've always seen every opportunity as another chance to grow. And one thing you should get into the mind of doing is looking at every opportunity as an opportunity to grow. Get the word out of your doctrine. Get it out of your mind. Get failure. Just see it as an opportunity to grow. That's how I see it. That's how you can see it going forward. So, again, awareness. Be aware of the fact you can choose. You can choose to feel this or you can choose not to. But it's in your ability of choice. That's where your power lies at the end of the day. And in your ability to have clarity of this, you can lead, you can live, and you can be more effective in all your decisions. Every area, relationship, business, personal growth, etc., financial. You'll be able to be better at these things when you know your abilities to choose and decide what you pay and focus your attention to. Alright guys, so now I want to talk about the clarity in conscience. The clarity part, the part of having clear vision, the clear conscience, the clear state of mind, the clear ability to choose, understand, and contemplate. Now clarity is like clear, like a glass. You know, when you can see through the glass, it's clear because you can see the other side of it. If you can see the other side of your conscious, then you're aware. That's awareness. Awareness is full perspective. It's a total globe-like perspective, a 360 view. So that's why I put awareness down here. But there's no awareness and there's no contemplation, nor is there any understanding if you don't have clarity. And clarity can be confused by certain things. Certain things can infuse our clarity with like different colors and different clouds and things like that. It can cloud our clarity if we put certain things in our conscious. Now, one thing I've noticed is that when we infect our conscious with disease of doubt or disease of worry or fear or insecurities, these things cloud our visions. They cloud our conscious and they cloud the way we see ourselves and our world. Clear conscious allows you to see things for as they are, not for how you want them to be. And when you have a clear conscience, you'll be able to see things as exactly they are, not trying to disfigure reality or not trying to manipulate it in the way you want it to be. But the best ability you'll have is when you can see it for how it is. One of the things I learned from 50 Cent, surprisingly, he's a great dude, he's very smart, and he's a very, very innovative person you got to listen to in the mind, is that he says, 50 Cent says that what he had to do was he had to keep himself in the right state. And I'm thinking deeper. I'm trying to figure out exactly what he said. I'm trying to figure out exactly what, because he says a lot of good stuff. 50 Cent has not just said one great thing. He said a ton of good things. So I want to figure out exactly what he said. I'm just thinking about it. But one of the things that really stuck with me personally is when he was younger, and he knew his ability in rap and what he could do. But what he had to do was he had to maintain this clarity of vision. He had to maintain the clarity of conscience. And the way he looks at the world, which is really cool, I learned in his book, is that he looks at it for how it is. Not for how he wants it to be, not for how he would hope it to be, but for how it is. So if it's evil, he sees it for it. If it's not how he wants it, he sees it for how he doesn't want it. He just sees it as is. He roots himself in reality. Roots himself in reality. You get it? He's rooting himself in reality. He's not trying to make a false sense of reality. He doesn't watch news. He doesn't watch television shows. He doesn't go to the movies. He roots himself in reality for how things are. And then from knowing how things are, he can confront it with determination. He faces death in its face. He's been shot 9 times, still alive. He's been able to root himself in reality and even face death. That very few people have had that experience. But he's so rooted in it, and nothing really scares him. He's not afraid of anything. He's not afraid of an intimidating boss. He's not afraid of a good businessman, because he's faced actual death as if he's been on the war field. So he walks with confidence. He walks with boldness because he knows what he's able to do, and he's not letting anybody stop him from doing it. And that's because he has a clear conscience. He's aware. He's awake. He's able to confront things as is. Again, like I said, the clarity part is very important. Things can disfigure our clarity, whether that be thoughts of doubt, thoughts of insecurity. But these things have a mental effect. There's also a physical effect on our conscience when we put in the wrong things, like alcohol. I'm not gonna go too deep because I can go on for this for another hour. But alcohol in itself, the minute you take a sip of it, affects your mentality. And it also affects your conscience. So if you're going to tell me that, I got clear conscience, but I'm drinking a ton of drinks a day, I'm going to tell you right now, you probably don't have a clear conscience. You don't, because it's proven, it's statistically proven that even a sip of it will affect your clarity of mind, your ability to decide, your ability to make decisions, your ability to be aware and contemplate is affected immediately. And I know this is true. One day I was drinking alcohol. I was at the wrong place. I was at a strip club. Shouldn't have been there. With a buddy. This was a while ago. I was out there with a buddy, and we're both intoxicated. I'm telling him I'm gonna drive the car. He's telling me no, I'm gonna drive the car. I said so we go back and forth for 30 minutes. I give him the keys. I let him drive. I said, be safe. Guess what? He goes straight through the red light. Cop cars behind us. We could have gone to jail for a very long time. Thank God we did not. The cop car stopped. The guy said, look, I just need your license, your registration. I'm going to give you a ticket for going through the red. He could have stopped us. Then the drinking test, both could have lost license. Could have been very bad. You see, our ability to decide was jeopardized because we had alcohol in our system. This is a real thing. It affects your judgment immediately. So does drugs, smoking cigarettes, smoking weed. Any of these things will affect your ability to decide as well. So you guys have to be very careful about what you stick within your body. Mind-altering drugs, Motrin, little drug, any drug can affect your ability to decide. And they know it can. You know it can because it says on the bottle, it says warning, this can affect your abilities in certain areas. So be careful what you stick into your system because it can affect what's out in your mind, in your mental. You need to be aware. You need to always have awareness. Like I said, we are in a very interesting world today where you're going to need to be conscious, awake, aware, vigilant, have some sort of clarity. Without it, you're moving very lost. You see, the thing about the leader that was in my unit when he was leading us in the operation, was that he didn't really have a clear conscience. He didn't really know exactly what he was going after, what the mission was to begin with. And if you don't really know what the mission is to begin with, how in the world do you think you can lead others to get them there too? When you have a clear conscience, you're aware of where you're going, why you're going there, and when you're going to get there. What you do is you allow that to be easy for those who follow you. They'll be able to get there too when they need to get there. If you want to become a leader, you do not have the ability or the ease to lose sight of that clarity. That clarity of conscience is very important, and it cannot be jeopardized by any means. The minute you jeopardize this conscience is the minute everyone that believed in you, that trusted you, that looked up to you, have now lost respect and trust in you. That's why I use the situation. If you're a father, you need to make sure you have a clear conscience. Your child looks to your conscience. Your child's conscience is at some point dependent upon yours. He or she wants to look up to you to see if he or she can learn something from you. They also want to see how strong you are, how strong the conscience is. So children innately will test your morals. They will innately test your principles. They will innately test you just to see if you're as strong as you say you are. And so will your girlfriend, so will your spouse, so will your friends, so will the whole entire world. So what you need to do is get clarity and stick with it by being aware, vigilant, cognizant. Make sure you stay away from those mind-altering, intoxicating things, because they'll deceive you. It'll lead you to a place of vulnerability, and in your vulnerability, that's when all trust, respect is gone. I've seen this before, even in my family. I've seen a relative be very intoxicated, and sadly, but truthfully, I lose a little bit of respect when I see it. You know, if I trusted or if I looked to his opinion on some area, the minute I saw him in that state, I lost a little bit of respect, because it showed me that, you know, your conscience wasn't strong enough to at least discipline yourself from altering it. At least discipline yourself from being infected by some of the physical things like alcohol or weed, things that alter your mind state. And I even look to people I look up to and things like that, and if I see them under this state, I lose a little bit of respect. So if your child sees you like this, if your child sees that, your child is actually losing respect for your conscience, for what you believe in, for your morals, for your principles, and you wonder why the child or the friend or the partner doesn't listen to anything you say, it's because they don't trust anything you say. And they don't trust anything you say because you don't have integrity of mind. You don't have integrity in understanding. You don't have integrity in your own self. Without integrity in your own self, they don't trust your decision outside of self. But it starts with self. Just saying. So guess what? I'm going to give you guys some tactical tips, things you can apply, do immediately on today. Like I said, you need your pen, you need your pad. You're going to be learning a king. All right, guys, great. So now I'm going to talk to you about implementing awareness, understanding, and contemplation. I'm going to give you 5 tips to act in your awareness, to better your awareness, and 5 tips to better understanding, as well as 5 tips to better contemplation. So if you have a pen, you should write this on your pad. Now the first thing I want you to put down is awareness, and then underneath put down 5 bullet points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. The first bullet point is going to tell you to take time to yourself. Now this is going to be awareness. Some people say meditate. I would say prayer, maybe alone time with no one around. Get rid of the TV, get rid of the social media, put your phone in your pocket, and just take time to yourself. Spend 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes. Personally, for me, I'll spend about an hour in prayer sometimes, just me and the Lord. And that actually is awareness time for me, because he gives me awareness in ways and areas that I didn't even think to be aware of. But it's very important to take time. So jot down in big letters, take time. 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes a day. Okay, just make a habit out of it, because it's going to help you grow. The second key to awareness is get feedback. Okay, get feedback. Whether you're getting feedback from a friend or a partner or a relative, try to get feedback wherever you can, however you can do it. I'll get feedback through Instagram, Facebook, tools like this. And a lot of the time, I'm going to be honest with you, I learn better from bad feedback than good feedback. Good feedback is just like, I don't even recognize. The only thing that stands out is the bad. And for me, when I get the bad feedback, I say, okay, this is what I need to work on. I get feedback by realizing how many views I got less than the other post. So if there's less views, less likes, I'm realizing, maybe this isn't the best post for the platform. Doesn't mean it's a bad post, but for the platform, no. You always have to figure out what's native to the platform. So that's what I've realized. But for you, maybe it's getting feedback at your job, maybe from a colleague or a coworker, somebody to let you know if you're getting better results physically. If you're working out but nobody's telling you making results or not, maybe you should ask somebody. Hey, you see good results? Ask somebody you trust, because I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of people are going to lie to you. They don't want to hurt your feelings. But you want to get around people who will give you the truth. You might need to do this. You might need to do that. I've got a lot of feedback on things I could do other than this. So I'm getting perspective and I'm listening. But feedback is important, because even if you like their feedback or even if you don't like it, you're the one that's going to make the ultimate decision. So you take all the options, you weigh them, but then you, at the end of the day, will decide. This is very important for you. The third thing you should do is get out of your head. This is a good one. This is one I struggle with. But this is a very good one. Get out of your head. A lot of the time you're really absorbed with yourself. You want to get out of the head so you can understand where other people are at. It's not an easy thing to do, but once you do it, you'll get the perspective and the awareness that you're ultimately looking. So this is going to help you as well. The fourth thing that you could do is exercise. Exercise. You want to exercise. You want to move the body. Get the body moving physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Exercise really does help. It helps in a lot of ways. The only reason I exercise is for my mental. I don't do it for the physical. If you guys see me in person, I'm 5'5", about 142 pounds. I don't really do it for the physical. I do it for the mental, for the awareness, what it does for me in all the other areas. So exercise, turn that into a routine and get that in there. Now I'm going to get into understanding. 5 tips to help you better understand. Understand situations, understand relationships, understand where you're currently at, where you want to go, etc. Better ways to understand. And the first thing is going to be listen first. Listen first. That means if you're talking with somebody, if you're at a business meeting, if you're at school, wherever you are, always listen first. Keep quiet, listen first. If you're on the phone with somebody, just listen first. Because you'll learn a lot from listening versus talking. I mean, I could talk all day, but the best way I learn is from listening. If you see me talk for an hour long here, I'm going to tell you right now, I spend a whole day in silence. But I talk because I speak when I know what I have to say. When it's go time, when it's game time, I'm on it. But the majority of my life, I'm listening. I'm quiet. I'm humble. I hear other people. Doesn't mean I'm not confident. But I can humble my voice so that I can hear and take in the knowledge that soon I can give back out with better insight. So you want to listen. Okay, the second thing to better understanding is say sorry. Say sorry. Sometimes you're wrong. Sometimes you're not always correct. You probably thought that's crazy to think, but sometimes you're actually wrong. Sometimes you do things in the wrong. It's very easy to think we're always going to be right. We want to. But at times, you will have to say, sorry. I was wrong for that. I was wrong for not getting there on time. I was wrong that I lied. I was wrong that I didn't come through. Sometimes I gotta say sorry too. Say sorry that I forgot to message you. Say sorry I forgot to respond or do what I said I was gonna do. Sometimes we just gotta say sorry. It'll go a long way at the end of the day. The third thing you gotta do when it comes to understanding is seek first to understand. Seek first to understand, then be understood. That means making sure that you're really letting that person know that you want to understand them. And if you can't understand them, let them know. Tell them, I want to understand you. I want to understand where you're coming from. Please help me understand where you're coming from. Because that in itself will help somebody, even if you're in an argument, you're in an altercation. First thing you need to do, let them know, I want to understand where you're coming from. Please help me understand you. The other day I was in like an argument with somebody, not too much so, but it was trying to make fun of me in a sense, and I didn't get what he was trying to do, what he was trying to make sense. So I asked him, I told him, I said, honestly, just help me do this. I want to know. I really do. Help me learn. Just help me learn. I really want to learn. So could you please help me do it? And in doing that, I think he understood where I was coming from. I understood him, met him halfway, and the altercation was kind of gone. But the problem is we all like to we like to boost up our ego, and the ego doesn't allow us to understand others. Doesn't help us learn. Doesn't help us grow. We gotta humble it. We gotta put it to the door. We have to leave it at the door. There's a lot of beliefs out there I don't necessarily follow, but I've looked into, and they really are all about getting rid of that ego, the self. And as long as we're holding on to this ego or this sense of pride, we'll never be able to understand. So we have to get rid of this ego, this pride, let it go for a minute or two, and then seek understanding. Seek to understand. It says it in the book, in the Bible. It says, first seek to understand before you seek to be understood. It goes a long way. The fourth thing you should do when it comes to understanding is keep an open mind. A lot of the time we like to think things are always going to be point blank or point A. Either you hate me or you love me. Pick one. It's not like that. It's not one or the other. You want to keep an open mind to a lot of different things. Sometimes conversations are just conversations. Sometimes they don't mean this and they don't mean that. Sometimes they're just a conversation. But if we keep an open mind to how things could go, we'll realize that they can go a lot further than our own limitations. Maybe you're in a relationship with somebody and you want to figure out if this relationship is going to go this way or if it's going to go that way. I'm going to say keep an open mind, because it could go neither way, or it could go in a complete different way. You never know, but you want to always keep an open mind. You just always want to do that. It goes further at the end of the day. And the fifth thing, the last thing, last but not least, the fifth thing for understanding is going to be understand yourself. Come on, you got to understand you before you can understand someone else. You have to understand you. The whole world doesn't have to understand you, but you have to have an understanding of who you are, what you stand for, what you believe, etc. Because I can't believe somebody who doesn't know themselves and then trying to tell the world what they... You have to at least know you first. You have to understand you first, and then you'll be open to understand others easily. But you gotta know you. So keep that down there, put that in big caps, understand myself first. Now I want to get into contemplation. Better ways to contemplate situations, encounters, things that happen in your life. How am I going to contemplate it? I'm going to see, is it a bad thing, a good thing? What's the dealio? So the first thing under contemplation, the first bullet point is going to be, again, like self-awareness, take time. Take time. Big caps, write this down. Take time. Because when you contemplate a situation, you want to take time to contemplate it. You can't contemplate that divorce if you just take 3 seconds to say, oh, she just left me. And I don't like using the word divorce. Please forgive me. Marriage is a very important thing, in my opinion. It needs to stay sanctified. And we don't even use those words. So, but moving on from that, don't say, I got fired because he was a jerk, and then just move on. No, take time to contemplate what happened, why did that happen, how did this situation happen. There was an accident with the plane crash before. It was a plane crash that happened, and what these guys did was they went out into the field. They collected all the debris, every single piece of that plane they collected. They put the plane back together just to figure out what went wrong. Where did that happen? How did it crash? What exploded? What happened? That took days, months, but they did it and they figured out what went wrong so it never could happen again. What you guys want to get into the habit of doing is contemplating those type of situations. What went wrong? Where did the pieces fail? Where did I mess up? Where did he go wrong? Where did she go wrong? Etc. This takes time. So take time. Take time to actually contemplate something that matters to you so you can get a good understanding personally. Second thing to contemplation, I would say is action. Action. I know you guys are like, are you sure about that? No, I'm pretty sure about that. I'm sure. Action. Act. Action means act on. Act on it. If you are contemplating, thinking, oh, maybe is this the best thing to do, or is that the best thing to do? Should I do this or should I do that? Should I do this and you're contemplating too long without action, then you're just wasting time. Action breeds results. So whether you're getting good results, bad results, get results and then determine. So you want to act. If you're thinking too much about one thing, you got to act. So put down action for number 2. Action. Okay? Because you want those results. Good or bad, you need them. The third thing for contemplation is going to be discussion. Discussion. Now I use this as the third thing, an important thing, because if you can't discuss what you're thinking about, what you're contemplating, then you're just kind of in your head again, and you don't want to get in your head. You want to get out of it. So discussion will help. Sometimes you're discussing with a friend, or discussing with a relative, discussing with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife, your husband. Discussion will help. Discussion will help you figure out what's best to do. But again, you want to act at something. You don't want to discuss forever. You want to maybe discuss and then go. So if you're discussing, should I go to this school or that school? Discuss about it. Ask somebody and then do it. Okay? And the fourth thing for contemplation is reiteration. Reiteration. Reiterate what you are contemplating. Write it down. Put it in a notebook. Reiterate it. Reframe it to someone. Again, it's not the same thing as discussion, but if you can literally just get what's on your mind on a piece of paper, you'll have a better, you can reiterate that in more clear terms. So if you're trying to discuss what's on your mind to somebody and they can't understand you, first thing you have to do is write it down and then reiterate it to them. And then you can discuss it. But that will help a lot better, because when you're just trying to get things out of your mind and it's kind of all over the place, they might not understand you. But if you can write it down, then reiterate it clearly, it'll be a lot better. And that's something that I'm actually going to implement pretty soon, because when I'm in relationships, I have a lot of things that's on my mind, but it's hard to discuss it, so I have to reiterate it. Good one. And the fifth thing, the last thing you're going to have to be able to do is focus. Focus on what you're contemplating about. When you're contemplating, it's sometimes something that's in your head. So while you're doing the dishes, you're contemplating. While you're making dinner, you're contemplating. While you're in the car, you're contemplating. While you're on your phone, you're contemplating. What you want to do is take time to focus on what you're contemplating on, so that maybe you can either reiterate it quickly, write it down quickly, discuss it quickly, or just decide on an action quickly. But you gotta focus on it. You got to focus on what it is you're contemplating. Because if you don't do that, you'll be contemplating on little things that turn into big things, and you'll never end the contemplation. So focus and get a decision made immediately. I'm glad you guys are staying tuned for this greatness. I want to say thank you guys for tuning into lesson number 3 of integrity. Awesome stuff, clear conscious. I can't wait to have you guys tune in for the next course. You're gonna be getting a lot of good stuff. Again, these are paid, so every dime you're getting is put into good use.